안녕하세요. 지금부터 제3회 국제문화학술 발표대회를 시작하겠습니다. 저는 오늘 대회 진행을 맡은 사단법인 한국국제문화우호협회 팀장 한승훈입니다. 반갑습니다. 우선 이번 대회를 주관한 사단법인 한국국제문화우호협회 이수현 이사장님의 인사말이 있겠습니다. 인사말은 영상으로 보시겠습니다.
안녕하십니까. 사단법인 한국국제문화우호협회 이사장 이수현입니다. 저희 사단법인 한국국제문화우호협회는 1994년 중국과의 첫 교류를 시작으로 지금까지 30여 년 동안 20여 개 국가의 정부기관 및 단체와 경제, 사회, 문화, 예술, 스포츠 등 다양한 분야에서 진행해온 국제교류 실적과 경험을 토대로 설립된 외교부 소관의 사단법인입니다. 한류의 열풍으로 전 세계에서 한국의 위상이 올라가고 한국에 대한 관심이 높아지고 있는 요즘 K-팝을 비롯한 각 분야에서 다양한 콘텐츠로 활발한 국제교류가 이루어지고 있습니다. 특히 2022년은 한중 수교 30주년이 되는 해로 저희 협회가 그동안 쌓아온 한중 간의 국제교류 경험과 신뢰를 바탕으로 한층 더 발전된 한중 우호관계 형성을 위해 도약하고자 하는 새로운 원년이기도 합니다. 국제학술 교류 활성화를 위해 개최하는 이번 국제문화학술 발표대회 역시 우리의 젊은 인재들이 서로 소통하고 교류하면서 글로벌 인재로 성장하고자 하는 축제의 한마당이라 할 수 있겠습니다. 그동안 최선의 노력으로 준비해온 모든 참가팀에게 힘찬 응원의 박수를 보내며 강수를 진행해 주신 이경만 박사님께도 진심으로 감사드립니다. 이번 대회를 빛내주시기 위해 영상으로 축하 인사를 보내주신 건양대학교 이철성 총장님, 전 국립인천대학교 이가병 부총장님, 전 영어교육학회 김인득 회장님, 그리고 저 멀리 중국에서 축하 영상을 보내주신 중국 당 기관지 샤오캉 잡지사 라이회이넝 부사장님, 그리고 중국 중남민족대학교 경제학원 맹경래 부원장님께 감사드립니다. 끝으로 무엇보다 바쁘신 가운데 오늘 직접 참석해 자리를 빛내주신 내빈 여러분께 협회를 대표하여 진심으로 다시 한번 감사의 말씀을 드립니다. 고맙습니다.
네, 감사합니다. 이어서 5분의 축사가 있겠습니다. 축사 역시 모두 영상으로 보여드리겠습니다. 먼저 건양대학교 이철성 총장님이십니다.
여러분 안녕하세요. 건양대학교 총장 이철성입니다. 사단법인 한국국제문화우호협회가 주최하는 제3회 국제문화학술 발표대회 개최를 진심으로 축하드립니다. 오늘 행사를 위해 참가자 여러분께서 논문과 영어 프레젠테이션을 직접 준비하였다고 들었습니다. 새로운 도전을 위해 밤을 새웠을 여러분의 열정과 노력에 진심 어린 격려와 박수를 보냅니다. 앞으로의 사회는 세계인이 함께하는 사회가 될 것입니다. 한국어든 영어든 자신의 생각과 주장을 표현할 수 있는 사람이 이 시대의 진정한 리더가 될 수 있을 것입니다. 우리 건양대학교는 한국국제문화우호협회와 한중교류, 한국어 말하기 대회 등 다양한 형태의 협력을 확대해 나가고 있으며 올해 한글날에도 2번째 한국어 말하기 대회를 준비하고 있습니다. 지속적인 관심을 가지고 함께해 주시는 이수현 이사장님께 감사드리며 양기간 파트너십이 오랫동안 지속되기를 바라는 바입니다. 다시 한번 오늘 행사를 축하드리며 향후 한중 관계의 핵심이 될 여러분의 앞날을 응원합니다. 감사합니다.
네, 다음으로 전 국립인천대학교 이가병 부총장님의 인사가 있겠습니다.
반갑습니다. 산동성 중앙국제학원의 이가병이라고 합니다. 20세기가 세상에 넣는 것은 무엇일까요? 바로 냉전입니다. 그렇다면 21세기는 우리에게 어떤 숙제를 줬을까요? 바로 글로벌이죠. 이제 글로벌 리더의 시간이 다가온 것입니다. 인터내셔널 와이드에서 생각하고 행동하고 만나야 되는 것입니다. 특히 한중 수료 30주년이 된 해입니다. 다양한 행사가 준비되고 있지만 특히 우호협회에서 하는 오늘 이 행사는 굉장히 중요한 의미를 갖습니다. 왜냐하면 청년들에게 도전하고 희망을 갖도록 도와주기 때문입니다. 젊은이 여러분, 도전하십시오. 따자 짜요.
네, 감사합니다. 이어서 전 영어교육학회 회장 김임등님의 축사가 있겠습니다.
제3회 국제문화학술 발표대회를 축하드립니다. 특히 한중수교 30주년을 기념하여 개최하게 되어 더욱 뜻깊은 학술대회라고 생각합니다. 금년에는 한국을 비롯한 여러 나라에서 참가하고 중학교 3학년, 고등학생, 대학생 및 대학 교수 등 15명이 참가하는 대회로 발전하였습니다. 발표 내용도 동서양 철학 사상 비교부터 엔트로피의 사회 현상 적용, 마키아벨리의 군주론과 맹자 철학의 비교 및 러시아, 우크라이나 사이버 전쟁에 관한 것까지 다양한 탐구들이 소개되고 있습니다. 이 대회를 위해 수고하시는 협회 관계자, 학교, 학술 관계자들의 수고에 감사를 드립니다. 특히 논문들을 감수해 주신 이경만 박사님에게도 격려의 박수를 보냅니다. 감사합니다.
네, 잘 들었습니다. 자, 이어서 네 번째로 중화인민공화국 당 기관지 샤오캉 잡지사 부사장 라이회이넝 뇌혜능님의 축사가 있겠습니다.
李老师好，韩国的朋友们大家好，我是中国小康杂志社副社长赖慧能。我们呢主要的职责呢就是研究中国的县域以及中国乡村如何发展的一个国家级媒体。首先呢，我是要祝贺中韩建交30周年，也要祝贺我们的社团法人韩国国际文化友好协会正式举办第3届国际文化学术发表大赛圆满成功。我们对于韩国和中国的乡村振兴、乡村发展进行了非常多的友好的交流互动。我们希望今后我们在李老师的支持下，我们还能够有更多的交流互动、相互学习，共同促进。预祝大赛圆满成功，谢谢。
네, 마지막 5번째로 중화인민공화국 중남민족대학교 경제학원 부원장 맹경래 멍칭레이님의 축사가 있겠습니다.
안녕하십니까. 저는 중남민족대학교 경제학원 부원장 멍칭레이입니다. 우선 인사를 통해 근본 발표대회 참여할 수 있어서 너무 반갑습니다. 1992년 중한 수교로부터 지금까지의 30년 동안 중한과의 경제, 무역, 문화, 체육, 그리고 사회 등 여러 영역의 교류가 이루어져 왔습니다. 중국은 한국의 가장 큰 무역 대상국이 되는 동시에 한국 역사는 중국 전체 역사의 가장 큰 비율이 차지하고 있습니다. 사단법인 한국국제문화우호협회가 중한과의 교류에 기여한 공이 크므로 이에 진심으로 감사드립니다. 마지막으로 제3차 국제문화학술 발표대회 성공적인 개최를 진심으로 축하드립니다. 앞으로 중한과의 공동 발전 및 돈독한 우정을 위해 사단법인 한국국제문화우호협회가 더욱 큰 역할을 기대합니다. 감사합니다.
네, 5분의 축사 모두 잘 들었습니다. 감사합니다.
열방아카데미 교장 이경만입니다. 이렇게 와주신 모든 분들에게 감사를 드립니다. 올해는 특별히 한중수교 30주년을 기념해서 함께 열립니다. 지금 5분의 축사를 다 들으셨을 겁니다. 한국과 중국의 가장 쟁쟁하신 분들, 이분들이 축사를 해주셨습니다. 이거는 오늘 참가하는 모든 학생들의 수준을 대변하는 것 같습니다. 그래서 오늘 참가하는 학생들이 굉장히 수준이 높습니다. 그래서 잘 보시고, 내용도 어려울 수도 있습니다. 그러나 잘 끝까지 경청해 주시면 좋겠습니다. 네, 모두를 위해서 박수 쳐주시면 감사하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
발표에 앞서 오늘 대회 진행을 맡은 대원외고 서자기 양예지 학생에게 마이크를 넘기도록 하겠습니다.
Hi, we are students of Taiwan Foreign Language High School, Xu Ziqi and Yang Yizhi. We are in charge of hosting today. Nice to meet you. From now, let's start the presentation. This contest is divided in first and second parts, and 14 members will present in 12 times.
First presenters of the first part is Lee Jing-so, Park Jae-win, and Ki Soo-jin, students of Our Nations Academy. Please welcome them with a round of applause.
Hello everyone. We are all nation students. My name is Park Ji-yoon.
My name is Ki Soo-jin.
My name is Lee Jin-so.
This is the contents of our presentation. Introduction. Chunhyangjeon is one of the most famous works of Korean's representative classical literature. Also, Romeo and Juliet, written by Shakespeare, is also the most popular book over the past 400 years. The story of these two works is about the love between a young man and a young woman. There are these types of work in every country, and in China, Yangchuk belongs to this type of work. The two works show not only the sociality that captures the reality of the time, but also the timeless universality of love stories and the aesthetic aspects of literature by showing both human tragic and comic lives.
Theoretical background. The historical background. Romeo and Juliet and Chunhyangjeon were written under the theme of love between men and women. It was a period of human-centered, new humanism flourishing in social, cultural, and religious transitions. The origins. Romeo and Juliet was known for the work of William Shakespeare. It was believed to have been written around 1595. Chunhyangjeon was written in the late Joseon dynasty, but the exact author was unknown as an oral legend, and was printed in the 19th century and adapted into a novel.
Body. The similarities and differences. A meeting. In Romeo and Juliet, Romeo went to a masquerade, and at first sight he fell in love with Juliet. The meeting between Lee Mong-yong and Chunhyang took a similar structure. He fell in love at first sight with Chunhyang, who looked around and swings, saying the fairy must have come down. B. Aggressive feminine image. However, after love begins to spread to women who are good at judging situations, become more active, bold, and take the lead in love. When Juliet learned that Romeo was a member of the Montague family, her lifelong enemy, she sought boldness to reject the customary love of the time, saying, "Throw away your name." Juliet's act of boldly hinted a marriage until the moment of separation. Lee Mong-yong suggested to Chunhyang to sign a 100-year contract when he says a man's word is as good as a bond. Chunhyang took advantage of the opportunity and signed a 100-year contract that she received from Mong-yong.
Separation. Looking at the process of Romeo and Juliet's separation, the obstacles to their love were family disputes and differences in status. Before Romeo goes, he spends the night with Juliet with the help of Father Rowans and his nanny. Afterwards, the two say goodbye. Differences in reunion. Comparing the senses of meeting again, there is a most noticeable difference in the way the main characters meet again. For example, when Romeo arrived at Juliet's tomb, Paris thought that he had come to do something evil and disgraceful to the dead body. As a result, Paris challenges Romeo, but Romeo stabs Paris with a knife as Paris lies dying. He begs Romeo to be buried next to Juliet. At this moment, Juliet wakes up and finds an empty bottle of poison. Juliet then kisses Romeo and stabs herself in the chest with Romeo's knife. After only 7 days of free love, Romeo and Juliet die at the moment of their union. In 춘향전, before parting, 이몽룡 and 춘향 secretly promise to marry. If the king finds out, he will not be able to take the national exam and he will be a person who has abandoned even his relatives. The reunion in 춘향전 takes place when 이몽룡 came down to 전라도 as a secret monk. And she says, I'm not going to see you again in my life. There is no limit to my death. She shows her unwavering love, asking Walmet to treat 이몽룡 well.
Interrelationships with surrounding figures. We have Mercutio helping the main character Romeo and Nanny on Juliet's side. Then there is 방자 on the side of 이몽룡 and 향단 on the side of 춘향. Mercutio and Nanny provide energy to the main characters with wit and ups and downs. Mercutio also helps Romeo take off his idealistic dream cultures, thus before he goes to the ballroom and sees reality straight away. Nanny acted as a bridge between the two lovers and married them, even after Romeo's deportation. Romeo and Juliet's parents and Paris. The role that impedes the love of the main character is the older generations of parents or older competitors and violent government officials. Juliet's father Capulet is a representative of older generations and is particularly patriarchal in terms of forcing his daughter to marry Paris. In the case of Paris, he is a socially prestigious count with money and power. Paris, full of confidence, doesn't care what the other person's situations or words are, but only his own thoughts are important. 이몽룡's parents. 이몽룡's father is a direct contributor to the separation of the main characters and the self-presenting figures.
Good mediators. A person who seeks reconciliation is usually a rational person and plays a role in expressing ideas. Father Lawrence is also a priest with moderate ideas and serves as a counselor who listens to or comforts the main characters' worries about love. Conclusion. In this study, the two works of 춘향전 and Romeo and Juliet were compared from the perspective characters, the situation of the times, and the two works of and the structure of the works. This study aimed to learn not only two languages, but also the emotions and cultures of Korea and other countries.
There are these types of work of characteristic of important figures: 이몽룡, 춘향, Romeo and Juliet. The second chart is about characteristic of surrounding figures: 변학도, Capulet, Walmet, and Father Lawrence. Third, contemporary situation of the works. Next is structure of two works: meeting, love, obstacle, parting, hardship, and reunion. Lastly, similarities and differences. There are differences in writers, cause of conflict, departing, escaping the crisis, and end of two works. Thank you for listening our presentation.
Next, there is a presentation of Ho Eun-chek, an all-girls high school student. This presentation will be shown in the video.
Hello, my name is Eun-chek Ho. Today I'm going to present a study on the social phenomenon and naturalism in text of the D'Urberville. Introduction. Thomas Hardy was a novelist who worked from the late 19th century to the early 20th century. Almost all of Hardy's works were set in the Western region where he was born and continued to live even after becoming a novelist. To tell the main story of Tess, who is more beautiful than flowers and pure as a star, She is sent as a maid to the wealthy D'Urberville family because of her difficult family life. She is forced to lose her purity to her owner's son, Alec. And she falls into an unwanted relationship. Next, Tess meets Angel, the pastor's son. Because of his faithful love, they got married. But her past cannot be erased. Angel went to Brazil and forgave Tess, and he returns. But Tess is already a woman in Alec, and Tess despaired. Eventually, Tess killed Alec and is arrested for being with Angel. I explained the reality of rural 90s as a theoretical background. The shadow of fate that was trampled on by the belligerent urban society of the Industrial Revolution was spreading against rural society. I also explained the naturalism, determinism, and evolutionism as a theoretical background. Naturalism is used interchangeably with realism. Naturalism is common in that it provides an objective description of modern society. Determinism and evolutionism were literary trends centered in France in the late 19th century. They mainly show the dark side of society. It is also used as a concept of dualism. From now on, I will introduce a patriarchal figure in Tess. First, Tess obeyed her father's orders and went to D'Urberville Street. Second, it was Alec's behavior to think that men could do whatever they wanted to do to women. Third, Tess was just waiting for her husband. Fourth, the atmosphere of society that valued women's integrity could also be seen as patriarchal. Next, I introduce a naturalistic approach. Natural power has an omnipotent power that greatly affects human passion by its power. This work depicts animal and natural phenomena suggesting the development of the play. The contents are as follows. First, Tess arrived at tableau size at the happiest time of her life. Then, the hero looked at her indifferently. Second, Arctic Bird saw Tess and Marianne working at Lincoln Ash. These birds witnessed terrible scenes that humans could not rely on. However, they forget this experience with insensitivity. Third, Angel searched for Tess in sorrow, but she had heard from Marlowe that Angel no longer lived here. Then the indifferent birds appeared and were singing overhead. Fourth, Tess, who was kicked out of the house, was looking at the spider web. This was to imply the appearance of an individual's life through the laws of nature. Fifth, the spider web which was misplaced in a corner. This was an indication of the surrounding situation through the laws of nature. Sixth, rural superstition was basically an auxiliary device to adapt to natural law. Tess felt the knife and fork standing upright on the table as if the diary owner was preparing gallows. This was foreshadowing a tragedy through sensitivity to Tess. When Tess and Angel went on an unhappy honeymoon, another example appeared repeatedly in the story of a chicken crime. Look at the religious world in Tess. This Christianity emerged from ignorance of the Bible verses, which aroused a sense of guilt in Tess. Christianity, like this, was symbolized again by Angel's own prejudice. Look at the Angel motive for forgiving Tess. For Angel, Brazil, the new world was a land of promise, but he chose it not as a promised land, but as a refugee. But he failed there. Through his failure, he must have felt that he was in the same position as Tess and also understood her past. In conclusion, Hardy bravely attacked the convention and narrow-minded religious attitude of British society at the end of the 19th century. His work is not literature with only local colors, but a tragedy with the theme of fighting against human will and fate that tragically tramples on it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The third presenter is Kwak Mose, a student of international gateway in Turkey. This presentation also will be sharing the video.
Hello, my name is Mose Kwak, and I will be giving examples of constant increase in entropy. First, answering the question, what is entropy? Entropy has two different definitions. The casual use of entropy is lack of order or predictability. The physical usage is the thermal energy of the universe. Increase in entropy. The entropy on the Earth has been on a constant increase of an average of 0.08 degrees Celsius annually. This is because of the constant usage of energy. One of the multiple ways of lessening the heat stress on Earth is by repurposing the waste products that are being created and using them for energy. Another source of energy is natural energies. Some are commonly known, such as hydro energy, wind energy, and solar energy. Some are not as commonly known, which are biomass, power plants, and geothermal energy. I'll be giving an example of Turkey's energy, and Turkey is where I currently live. Turkey's goal was to produce 38.8% more energy than the previous year. However, they have surpassed this goal by 5.2%. A company called Pegchev is in charge of collecting waste products and repurposing them for energy. Next topic is economy. The two major kinds of jobs that is entrusted to one is the working job and the jobs at home. Working both jobs is called hybrid working, and tasks from both jobs have to be completed to maintain order. Examples of work in Turkey. In Turkey, it is common to see women cleaning around the house on a regular basis and men going to work. As seen in this image, a Turkish woman is cleaning her windows as they prefer to keep everything in the house spotless. Urbanization. Urbanization happens when a mass decides to settle in an area. By doing so, technology is able to advance. Efficiency and sufficiency. Efficiency refers to how quickly something can be done, whereas sufficiency refers to how well something can be done. Examples of efficiency and sufficiency. Technology has been improving at a constant exponential rate. For something to be used on a regular basis, it must be both efficient and sufficient, such as modern transportation. Education. Education is one of the essentials for a society. Without it, we would not improve in anything and slowly descend into chaos. Humanities and religious educations. Humanities is the study of people's culture. Religions are the study of a superior being. Religions are a part of humanity because they have a culture of their own. Cooperation. Like education, it is an essential to a society. Everyone depends on each other whether they like it or not. Cooperation is another way to learn more about each other. Theory of justice. The theory of justice refers to equality for all. It suggests that everyone should have equal chances at everything they do. Health is one of the many things that humans find hard to maintain. As people age, parts of the body begin to fail and require more medical attention. Which brings us to the common suggestion, health insurance for all. Because failing health is a problem for everybody, it is a common suggestion that people have an opportunity to maintain their health whether they can afford it or not. Healthy individuals versus intellectuals. It is necessary to understand that healthy individuals are on higher demand than those of intellectuals. This is because intellectuals give ideas, whereas the healthy individuals put those ideas and bring into reality. Especially after the COVID-19 pandemic, being healthy has become an essential. Science, technology, and the future. Science improves technology, which improves the state of our future. Scientific discoveries will make better technology, making things easier to do. So, answering the question that many people ask, how long can Earth survive? Despite learning a lot about our planet and predicting the future using mathematics, it is not possible to put an accurate date for the end of our planet. However, we can delay this date by using more renewable energy and decreasing the usage of wasteful energy. In conclusion, according to Jeremy Rifkin, an economic theorist, the advancements in technology will only increase the usage of energy. As time goes on, technology will advance and increase the usage of energy, which will lead to higher entropy. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your presentation. Next, the fourth presenter is An Jingyue, Taiwan Foreign Language High School student. Please give her warm applause.
Hello everyone, my name is An Jingyue. So today my topic is Laozi thought in the stories for the story of Ivan the Fool of Tolstoy. I will introduce it for 3 departments. The first is introduction. So as we know, the Tolstoy research in Russia concerned the story of Ivan the Fool as a tale of emperor's greed and tricks, and as known as the most satirical folklore. There are 3 pictures. The first is Tolstoy, and the second is Laozi with his book Todoging. The last picture is about Russia's background. So I will introduce the second part, the background, Tolstoy's thought and Laozi's thought. First is Tolstoy's thoughts. Tolstoy's constitution of human nature are the most real piece of Tolstoy's built world, and Tolstoy's thoughts on human nature were mainly inspired by Russian history and retail at the time. So Europe's enlightenment deeply influenced Russia. So this is Laozi's thought. Laozi always pays attention to nature and always uses everything in nature to explain everything in society. The third part is body. The first is Tolstoy's non-doing. Tolstoy was convinced that Western Christian-centered worldview based on this idea was incomplete. Therefore, he became interested in Buddha, Confucius, and Laozi. In other words, he wanted to solve his worry about nature and the meaning of life. The second part is Ivan's non-doing. Ivan's brother left for city for power and money, and then the eldest brother came back to home and asked Ivan to give up his land. However, Ivan did not give up. So, 天地不仁，以万物刍狗；圣人不仁，以百姓为刍狗。 천지는 모든 사물에게 편애하지 않는다. 성인은 어느 백성에게도 같은 사랑 베푼다. From chapter 9 of this book, it shows the life of the idiot Ivan's kingdom. No tax collection, no paper systems, no rule of lie by troll. Ivan didn't have money, but everyone lived on their own work and feed good people. 多藏必厚亡. 너무 많이 지니면 반드시 많이 잃게 된다. 知足不欲, 知止不智. Ivan, who is a king and sweet with his own hands, with like ordinary people, is the best ideal leader president in chapter 17. So, however, the old devil easily destroyed the 2 brothers' kingdom by crossing war or washing ship wheels. 不尚贤，使民不争. This is a sentence in Laozi's book, Todoging. As we have seen so far, Torstedt's people's tale, the story of Ivan the Fool is a bitter satire and a section of millions there and capitalism. Thank you for listening my speech.
Thank you. And next presenter is Kim Ye-in, SDC International School Academy student. Please announce it.
Hello everyone, my name is Shin Kim. Today I'm gonna present a study on other psychological theory. First, introduction. This paper analyzes others' important theory and examines the case applied to the book discussed with this slide. I will briefly explain theoretical background they used for my study. First, introduction to other psychology. Arthur Adler was a medical doctor psychotherapist and the founder of the School of Individual Psychology. When he was young, he was weak and suffered from various diseases. With this experience, he became interested in human courage and challenge to overcome inferiority that makes humans grow. The book cursed with this slide is written by two authors named Gisimi Ichiro and Fumite Goga. Next, introduction to the book. This book easily summarizes other psychology as a dialogue. In this book, a philosopher and a young man have met 5 times to find answers how to live a happy life. First, I would like to talk about the lifestyle. Lifestyle refers to the basic premise as an assumption that are basic for living. Lifestyle refers to the lifestyle can be expressed as I am, the word is, therefore, by syllogism. Arthur Adler described lifestyle as 4 types according to social interest and activity level, which are the dominant type, the dependent type, avoidance type, and the socially useful type. First, I would like to talk about the dominant type. The dominant type is dictatorship, dominated and controlled by their parents. When parents dominate their children through force, their lifestyle is formed as a dominant type. The next one is the dependent type. The main characteristic of this lifestyle is a dependence. This lifestyle is an attitude that appears when their parents overprotect their children. The next one is avoidance type. These people have a passive and negative attitude in everything. For children who have this lifestyle, parents should show an attitude of social interest and active precipitation toward them. And the last one is the socially useful type. These people have a social interest and high activity. Additionally, they are willing to cooperate with others to complete their life tasks. Next, I would like to talk about the theory called teleology. Arthur Adler saw humans as beings who strive for future-oriented goals based on the present. And individual psychology assumes that all human actions have a purpose. Arthur Adler used the term teleology to describe self-completion of inducing human behavior. Next, I would like to talk about the inferiority versus inferior complex. Every human being feels inferior in some way. This is because they evaluate themselves by comparing themselves to others. In this theory, he emphasized that each of us should overcome inferiority complex we feel to achieve self-completion. Next is organ inferiority. Organ inferiority relates to the individual body. Children who are physically imperfect or chronically ill experience this kind of inferiority. Next is overprotection. Overprotection is also called as mama boy. For children who have this lifestyle, children cannot make decisions on their own without parents. And next is negligence. Negligence relates to the failure of their parents to do the bare minimum for their parents. Parents' interest and love are very important factors in the growth of children. Next, I want to talk about the pursuit of superiority. In this theory, he used the concept of superiority to achieve self-completion or self-realization. Next, I want to talk about the theory analysis in the course of this slide. First, teleological meaning. Alfred Adler pursued future-oriented goals rather than the ascribe meaning to the past. So he emphasized his purpose theory rather than force theory. And next, he emphasized that here and now is important. This means that if there's no present, there's no future. And there are two purposes which are synthesis and inertia. Next, I want to talk about the theory of inferiority. In this theory, Adler denies the trauma itself. And he argued that when children are acting trouble, parents and educators cannot make judgments. Next, I want to talk about the theory of superiority. In this theory, he emphasized the relationship between me and neighbors. This means that if I am the universe, my neighbors are also the universe, and everyone is one as a community. The last one is lifestyle theory. In this theory, he argued that an active person is a person who has love for others and practice them. And he didn't want a disciple, but he wanted a life partner. In conclusion, Alfred Adler said that the characteristic of enjoying a happy life is not focused on oneself, but on neighbors and community. In other words, you are not only interested in your own world, but in the world of others. The shift away from selfish worldview to the altruistic worldview is the main key to human happiness. And this is the end of my presentation, and thank you for listening to my speech.
Thank you for your presentation. I enjoy it. Then, the last of the first part. Next, sixth presenter is Kica, a student of SDC International School Academy. Let's give her a big hand.
Hi, my name is Karin Lee, and I'm going to present a study on comparison between Machiavelli's The Prince and Mencius. I compared The Prince, written by the Western philosopher Niccolo Machiavelli, with the Mencius, written by the Eastern philosopher Mencius. As a result of comparing and analyzing The Prince, a theory similar to that of Mencius, emphasizing that human nature was shown. The two philosophers' ideas were found to be sharing a fundamental understanding in 6 different aspects. According to Machiavelli, in order for a leader to success, first, the leader must be able to succeed. Second, the leader must be able to recognize and take opportunities to think ahead of their enemies. Third, luck plays an important role in all strategic judgments for leaders. Fourth, if an unexpected situation occurs, the leaders must be able to completely overturn a plan he has made as detailed as possible. According to Machiavelli, the purpose justifies the means for 4 reasons. First reason is that the trickery politics can only work for the community and the public interest. Second, if the leaders had historically been able to create a good world in a good way, then wars and revolutions wouldn't have occurred. Third, this means that the results are very important. If politics is responsible, responsibility is determined by the results. Fourth, the means and purpose are not clearly separate either. There are some times when the means are the ends and the ends are the means. Now, I'm going to tell you the important political ideas of Mencius. First, the humans should work hard to cultivate their original good nature. Second, if kings should make a mistake, then the king should be replaced, which is called dynastic revolution. Third, all humans have their 4 sprouts, which are the sense of concern for the others, sense of humility, sense of shame, and sense of right and wrong. Fourth, if people's food, clothing, and shelter are well provided to the people due to the fixed property, then they'll maintain an unchanging moral spirit. Now, I'm going to tell you the background of Machiavelli's times. During the religious reform, the Italian peninsula was largely divided into 5 city-states. One of the 5 city-states, called Firenze, was ruled by Medici family. A secretary to the second chancery of the Republic of Firenze, Machiavelli dedicated his doctrines to Lorenzo de' Medici in hoping for the reunification of the Italian peninsula and effective defense against the foreign attacks. Now, I'm going to tell you the age of Mencius. During the Warring States period, local feudal lords aimed for spiritual independence from Zhao dynasty, and each called themselves the kings. They needed strong military and enormous economic power to gain supremacy, so they looked for the ways to increase taxes. And as a result, the commerce developed, and each king sent local officials to each region to rule them. It is considered appropriate to compare Machiavelli's idea with the Eastern philosophy for two reasons. First reason is that when I compared Machiavelli's idea with the Eastern philosophy, I thought of the Confucian ideas, not the legal ideas. If Confucius has created the Confucianism as a general thought, Mencius organized the Confucianism as a political ideology. Second reason is that Machiavelli's ideas were criticized for lacking morality, while Mencius' ideas were criticized for lacking the realistic perspective. However, the realist Machiavelli and moralist Mencius has no difference in recognizing the reality. Machiavelli describes the reality as all kinds of illegals by rulers who are supposed to maintain order as the cause of the disorder, so that the original capricious people are more evil. Mencius claimed that all pursue their own profit, which later develops into the fight between all people. Machiavelli insists that human nature is inherently evil. He saw humans as beings those who become greedy in front of their own profit. And Mencius claimed that people are corrupt in reality, but their innate nature is very good. According to Machiavelli, the maintenance and acquisition of the power should be based on different methods. They both argued that the good monarchs should choose those who have the ability to govern, and they both agreed that the tax burden should be reduced. According to Machiavelli, first, since the war is inevitable, solid alliance is better than neutrality. Second, sometimes the leaders must act evil because the power is firm only when it is gained by his own power. Third, law and power should be based on different methods. Fourth, the leader should never cancel a decision he has made once because it is better to be feared rather than loved. Fifth, the leader must earn on his own strength without taking away his neighbors. Also, a married woman shouldn't be raped because this is destroying the home. Sixth, the leader must be as brave as lion and sometimes as wise as fox. Machiavelli believed that the half of the fate was ruled by God, but the half, individual's ability, virtue, influenced them. Machiavelli and Mencius both argued that the fate is the realm of God, while the politics is the realm of man. Machiavelli emphasized the meaning of virtue as excellence, while Mencius emphasized the meaning of virtue as morality. They both recognized the importance of the proper use of the physical and political violence. Machiavelli insisted that it should be used only to maintain the state, while Mencius claimed that it should be used only when there is an absolute support of the people existing. In conclusion, this study dealt with the ideas of Machiavelli and Mencius based on 6 different aspects, and similarities and differences between the physical violence and politics. Machiavelli tried to appear as a scary monarch, while Mencius tried to support a revolution against the king, which was to protect the nation and its people. Thank you for listening to my speech.
Thank you so much. Now, it's past. Are you interested? Then, let's start the second part. The first presenter is Zhou Wenzhong, Taiwan Foreign Language High School student. Please give him an applause.
Hello everyone, I'm Zhou Wenzhong, the student of Taiwan Foreign Language High School. Today I will analyze and compare the representative sorts of Eastern and Western culture. First, simply learn from them. First, Plato. He believed that establishment of country requires several principles. He believed that there should be a certain hierarchy between people because people have their variety of personalities. So the standard of hierarchy should also be clear. And Aristotle, he advocated simultaneous use of democracy and monarchy. The law needs to take human nature as the starting point, and everyone is equal before the law. And he believed that cities, federations, and governments were higher than citizens. He also established the balanced principles of fair justice and exchange justice. And Confucius insisted on social inequality. He handed more responsibility to the higher level people and kings. More importantly, let strong take responsibility. And he usually don't have many moral requires for the ordinary people in the lower class. And the last one is Mencius. He paid more attention to the moral practice, paid more attention to the self-examination, and paid more attention to the evaluation of people's internal behavior. And he believed that attitude towards the people was directly related to the development of the country. The ideas on governing the states, we find the following commonalities and differences. The commonalities are as follows. First, the four political thinkers stated in common that justice was the central value of governance. Even the expressions are slightly different, and they all valued interests of the community. Second, they all think there should have some essential differences between humans, and they all believe the superior should govern and protect the inferior. Mencius and Confucius divided men into the noble man and the common man who should be ruled, and Aristotle divided into the competent aristocrat and the commoner. The Plato divided into three categories: the ruling class, the warrior class, and the working class. Third, the importance of association among community members is the same. Confucians value the union of community members, and Plato argued that the true rule takes place when all citizens share joy and pain. There are also some differences. First, Confucius and Mencius didn't discuss specifically and respect the origin of the states, or to propose and definition of the states. But Aristotle and Plato did it clearly and specifically. And Confucius and Mencius only indirectly hinted at and didn't explain directly by listing just and unjust things. Second, Confucius and Mencius reject interests and absolutely value humanity or 仁义. Plato and Aristotle differ in that they value the interests of the national community, and they view the interests of the states and the interests of the entire community as a criterion for distinguishing good and bad governance. Last one, Confucius and Mencius insist that the ruler shouldn't rely on laws or punishment by states' rules, but Plato and Aristotle differ in that they emphasize the ruler's knowledge of governance, skill, and rule by the law. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your presentation. And next, second presenter is Kwang Ching-myun, a student of SDC International School Academy. Please start.
Hello everyone, my name is Jin Myung-kwon from SDC International School. Today, I'm going to talk about an analysis of business management of Elon Musk with various column analysis in the New York Times. This is my table of contents. Introduction. To be introduced, I'm going to talk about Elon Musk. My study aimed to various businesses conduct based on his business philosophy. Theoretical background. First, I'm going to talk about Elon Musk's past. He was born in South Africa from electromechanical engineer father and moved to Canada. Perhaps influenced by his father, he was interested in computing when he was young. Also, he was majored at physics at Stanford University, but to start business as soon as possible, he dropped the college at 24. Then I'm going to talk about what kind of person he is. Elon Musk is one of the richest person in the world who opened a new way to electric vehicle era. He used Twitter a lot, but he doesn't use any filter to say stupid things. There are diverse reviews about him. Some criticism says Tesla is been in red every year. Also, according to his former employee, he is extremely ruthless in his management. Then, I'm going to talk about Musk's business philosophy. Although there are many criticisms about him, his accomplishing achievement make people to follow him. His goal is to make Mars habitable. Then, what is secret to his success? There were 6 business philosophy of him. First, money is not important. Second, follow your passion. Third, don't be afraid to set a big goal. Fourth, get ready for a venture. Fifth, ignore criticism. And finally, have fun. Barry. At Barry, I'm going to talk about his major businesses and investigation about New York Times article. His first business is Jeep2. Musk found Jeep2, which is internet-based local information provision system. It provides service to newspapers such as New York Times. His next business is Paper. Paper is payment service via email. eBay acquired Paper, so Musk earned $165 million, which became the basic of his subsequent founding of other company. In 2002, Musk found SpaceX, a private aerospace company. The goal of this company is reduce cost of launching a rocket by a tenth, so he developed reusable launch rocket system. And another goal is colonization of Mars. Musk, who is CEO of Tesla, tried to break prejudice that electric cars are slow. So he developed advanced electric car. Application of many advanced technology, including semi-autonomous driving technology, elevate Tesla's reputation. Then I'm going to talk about SolarCity. SolarCity is solar power company. Tesla bought SolarCity, which is to make a car powered by solar energy. SolarCity mainly engaged in installing solar panels to supply electricity to electric vehicles. Then Neuralink is an American neurotechnology company. It developed the human brain and computer connection, which also called as BMI. The purpose of this company is to develop artificial intelligence in a direction that benefits mankind. Then Hyperloop business. This is inside of Hyperloop. It connects the starting point to the destination with a vacuum tube to achieve tremendous speed and move the transport capsule. It is an eco-friendly transportation method with solar power generation. Also, it is inexpensive compared to US railroad. Then I'm going to talk about Earth and Mars. As you can see, Musk is really interested in Mars. His biggest goal is human habitation on Mars. It seems there are no relationship between his business and migration to Mars, but you should know Musk. He is building space shuttle with low cost. And his goal of human habitation on Mars is connect with survival of mankind. To save humanity, we should save Earth. And Musk's business does not deviate from this concept. To combat with global warming, which is a severe environment issue, Musk continually develop electric cars and run renewable energy business. However, protection of Earth does not guarantee the survival of humanity. So Musk thinks we should rely on Earth. More colony means higher chance of survival. Then BMI. I shortly mentioned BMI before, which is brain-machine interface. It is brain implant technology that reads signal of nerve cell by implanting electron called neurochip in the brain. His last business is Starlink. Ukraine-Russian war took place at 2002. By technology developed, cyber warfare emerged. Russia attempted to paralyze Ukraine by conducting cyber attack. But Elon Musk provided satellite internet service, Starlink, which relies thousands of satellites in low Earth orbit. Then I'm going to talk about my own investigation of 600 New York Times articles. I review all articles from January 1st, 2021 to March 27, 2022. Among 581 articles, I personally select 150 of them, and I categorize into 6 categories. First one is aerospace industry. Second one is auto industry. Third one is environment. First one is business management. And next is property. Last one is other. This is graph of investigation of 150 articles about Elon Musk. As you can see in the graph, Musk has been most focused on aerospace industry and least focused on environment. Conclusion. To be concluded, Musk intends to innovate the mankind. His personality and his business based on his business philosophy make him one of the richest persons in the world. This is the end of my presentation, and thank you for listening my presentation.
Thank you. The next presenter is Wang Kexing, who was graduated from Daewon Foreign Language High School and now a student of Yonsei University. The presentation will be viewed as a video.
안녕하세요. 저는 오늘 쇼폰 플랫폼이 사회에 끼치는 영향, 틱톡 중심으로 이라는 주제를 가지고 발표하게 된 연세대학교 왕가흠이라고 합니다. 오늘의 발표 순서는 이와 같습니다. 우선 연구 배경부터 설명해드리자면 인터넷 환경의 지속한 변화와 발전에 따라 최근 몇 년간 쇼폼의 형식으로 창조된 콘텐츠가 유행이 되면서 동영상 콘텐츠의 발전 추세 중 하나가 되었습니다. 쇼폼은 이름 그대로 길이가 짧은 콘텐츠가 특징인 시각 미디어 종류를 의미합니다. 그리고 틱톡, 인스타그램이 만든 릴스, 유튜브가 만든 쇼츠가 제공하는 영상들을 모두 쇼폼 콘텐츠로 간주할 수 있습니다. 중국 인터넷망 정보센터가 발표한 제47차 중국 인터넷 발전 상황 통계 보고서에 따르면 2020년 12월까지 짧은 동영상 콘텐츠의 소비자 규모는 8억 7,300만 명으로 중국 네티즌 전체의 88.3%를 차지하고 있다는 것을 알 수 있었습니다. 또한 중국 인터넷 시청 프로그램 서비스 협회가 2020년에 실시한 조사에 의하면 쇼폼 플랫폼 사용자 1인당 하루의 사용 시간은 약 125분 정도였습니다. 따라서 짧은 동영상 플랫폼들이 중국 네티즌들의 일상생활에 커다란 영향을 미치고 있으며 앞으로 인터넷의 발전에 따라 쇼폼 콘텐츠의 영향력은 더욱 커질 것으로 예상됩니다. 틱톡을 잘 모르시는 분들을 위해 틱톡에 대한 간단하게 설명해드리겠습니다. 틱톡은 동영상 소셜 애플리케이션으로 유저들이 플랫폼에서 제공된 음악과 필터 등 기능을 활용해서 동영상 콘텐츠를 스스로 제작하고 다른 유저들과 이를 자유롭게 공유할 수 있습니다. 틱톡은 2016년에 중국에서 처음으로 출시돼 현재 150개의 국가 및 지역에서 75개의 언어로 서비스를 제공하고 있고 무서운 성장세를 보여주는 플랫폼이라고 할 수 있습니다. 이어서 틱톡의 긍정적인 영향에 대해 살펴보겠습니다. 틱톡의 사회적 인지도 상승과 함께 사용자 수도 급증했는데요. 초기 이용자들은 대부분 음악에 맞춰 춤, 노래 혹은 립싱크를 보여주는 동영상 위주로 올렸다면 유저가 증가하면 할수록 음식, 뉴스, 메이크업, 전문 지식 등 주제를 다루는 채널이 많아져 틱톡 콘텐츠의 종류가 매우 풍부해지고 다양해졌습니다. 따라서 초기에 비해 지금의 틱톡은 훨씬 더 다양한 연령대, 다양한 계층의 사용자들의 마음을 사로잡을 수 있는 강한 포용성을 가진 장으로 변신했습니다. 즉, 오늘날 쇼폼 콘텐츠의 소비자 형태는 젊은 층과 소규모에서 벗어나 다원화한 연령대와 대중화로 점차 성장하고 있다는 것을 의미합니다. 사용자들에게 틱톡은 이제 정보를 얻고 사회를 이해하고 가치관을 형성하는 데 있어서 중요한 도구와 창구가 되었습니다. 그러나 틱톡이 사회에 미치는 영향은 항상 긍정적이지만은 않습니다. 틱톡이 가져온 첫 번째 부정적인 영향은 바로 정보 다양성의 부재입니다. 틱톡을 비롯한 쇼폼 플랫폼들이 가장 매력적인 부분은 알고리즘을 통해 사용자들의 취향을 맞춰 세분화되고 개별화된 욕구를 충족시킬 수 있다는 점입니다. 하지만 사실상 이러한 친절하고 편리해 보이는 기능이 사용자들을 지속적으로 자신이 접하고 싶고 관심을 갖는 콘텐츠에만 노출시키게 하고 정보 편식 현상을 가중시키며 대중들을 필터 버블 안에 가두는 부정적 결과를 초래할 수 있습니다. 여기서 말하는 필터 버블이란 정보 제공자가 이용자의 관심사에 맞춰 맞춤형 정보를 제공하여 이용자는 필터링된 정보만 접하게 되는 사회 현상을 뜻합니다. 필터 버블을 처음으로 제시한 사람, 즉 엘리 플레이저는 필터 버블은 한정된 정보만을 제공하기 때문에 자신과 다른 성향을 가진 사람들에 관한 내용이나 새로운 정보, 평소에 보지 않던 분야 뉴스 등을 접할 기회를 아예 박탈하기 때문에 이용자들의 지식과 가치관 확대를 방해할 수 있고 수집한 정보의 다양성을 보장하기 어렵다고 지적했습니다. 두 번째 부정적인 영향은 열성 가치관의 등장입니다. 인터넷이 개통되기 전에는 언론이 매우 수직적인 시스템으로 운영해 왔습니다. 당시에는 주로 언론사가 일방적으로 대중들에게 정보를 전달하고 서로 간의 상호작용이 거의 불가능하며 언론인들이 상당한 높은 권위를 차지했습니다. 그러나 인터넷의 개통과 빠른 확산 덕분에 현재 대중들이 언론 형성 과정에 쉽게 참여할 수 있고 소셜미디어에 나타난 콘텐츠가 언론사가 의제를 설정하는 데 종종 영향을 미치는 등 기존의 언론 시스템이 계속 변화해 나가는 모습을 확인할 수 있습니다. 이와 동시에 언론 형성 과정에 높아지는 대중 참여도와 낮아지는 참여 문턱으로 인해 틱톡을 비롯한 쇼핑 플랫폼에서 심한 욕설, 가짜 뉴스 혹은 재료 과시 등 열성 가치관을 보여주는 콘텐츠가 많이 등장하여 사회 풍조를 어지럽게 만들고 부정적인 영향을 미치고 있습니다. 틱톡의 마지막 부정적인 영향은 청소년에 대한 잘못된 인도라고 생각합니다. 틱톡 전체의 이용자 중에 청소년은 상당 비율을 차지하고 있습니다. 밀레니얼 세대의 아이들은 어릴 때부터 인터넷 환경에서 성장해 왔기 때문에 뉴미디어 플랫폼에 대해 뛰어난 학습력과 수용력을 지니고 있습니다. 이와 동시에 주변 사람들뿐만 아니라 온라인 매체들도 이들에게 사회를 인지하고 자신의 가치관을 세워나가는데 무시할 수 없는 정보원이라고 할 수 있습니다. 앞에서 언급한 바와 같이 현재 틱톡에서 욕설이나 가짜뉴스 등 부정적인 콘텐츠가 많이 존재하는데 아직 사물에 대한 분별력이 부족한 청소년들을 이런 환경에서 장시간 노출시킨다면 이들은 쉽게 잘못된 정보에 오도되어 비이성적인 결정과 행동을 하며 건전한 성장이 저해되기 쉽습니다. 최근 몇 년간 중국에서 틱톡 등 쇼핑 플랫폼들의 사업화가 큰 성공을 거두면서 이 분야에서 종사하는 크리에이터들이 높은 수익을 받게 되어 그들을 응원하는 커다란 팬덤이 형성되고 있습니다. 이 현상을 인지한 많은 청소년들은 돈과 명예를 수고하기 위해 맹목적으로 이 분야와 관련된 직업을 자신의 인생 목표로 삼고 심지어 아예 학업을 포기하는 경우도 종종 발생했습니다. 마지막으로 틱톡에 대한 미래 전망을 말씀드리고자 하는데요. 틱톡은 사람들에게 자신의 다양한 의견, 생각, 입장, 그리고 개성을 표현할 수 있는 장을 마련함으로써 새로운 커뮤니케이션 수단을 제시하여 사람들 간의 의사소통 방식을 변화시켰으나 틱톡 사용자들을 넘어 사회 전반에 악영향을 끼치고 있다는 부분을 무시하고 부인할 수 없습니다. 따라서 앞으로 틱톡의 경영진들은 틱톡의 발전을 위해 노력하는 동시에 스스로의 사회적 책임을 장악하고 쇼핑 플랫폼들의 장점을 살려 문화의 생산, 홍보, 그리고 보존에 기여하는 등 유익한 방향으로 유도하여 이끌어 나가야 된다고 생각합니다. 제 발표는 여기서 마치도록 하겠습니다. 들어주셔서 감사합니다.
Thank you so much. Next, the fourth presenter is Kang Lian, SDC International School Academy student. Let's give her a big hand.
Hello, my name is Liang Gang. Today I'm going to present the study of compares of Dante's La Divina Commedia with the Odyssey focused on afterlife. The reason why I started this research is that the purpose is to investigate the difference between the perspective of afterlife of Odysseus and perspective of afterlife of the Christian culture written by Dante in his La Divina Commedia. I briefly explain the theoretical background. First, who is Odysseus? Odysseus is hero of Trojan world. Homer's Odyssey is a book about complicated and dangerous journey for 10 years after the Trojan world. Second, Odysseus' itinerary. In his itinerary, the most important incident is to visit the world of afterlife. His group met Tiresias, Alfredo, and his mother Anticleria. Third, who is Dante? Dante Alighieri was born in 1265 as an Italian poet and ruined aristocrat in Florence. Beatrice is a very important person in his life. She is a great influence of the Dante's work in general. During the political battle, Dante was given the conditional pardon, but he didn't respond. He died of malaria in Ravenna. First, the meaning of death. The end of life means the cessation of all biological function that maintain the organism. Odysseus only can get the information as he went, as a visit the world of afterlife for his own purpose and information. Dante expressed much more diverse thing than afterlife Odysseus experiences in Odyssey. Dante introduced three parts of afterlife: Inferno, Purgatorio, Paradiso. First, Dante's La Divina Commedia. In the La Divina Commedia, number 3 is sacred number to meaning the Trinity. Collection of Western Christian civilization focus the God's providence, salvation, and human free will. Second, Dante's itinerary to the afterlife. Visiting the after death had the many mythological aspects. The ancient Greek realm and cultural tradition influence with each other. Dante's itinerary is better than Odyssey's. It is because Dante provides the whole process from beginning to end. The Dante's afterlife itinerary is process of salvation. Dante lost his right way and he was placed in dark forest. This is the motivation of Dante's afterlife itinerary. Dante realized that the death is not only despair but also new lesson hope. The La Divina Commedia is autobiography of Dante. The dark forest is like the grave, so through this, they gain true salvation beyond the boundary and make a new revival. Inferno. Inferno is place where the spirit in Inferno cannot hope anywhere. Inferno not allowed even a very little light, so there's no star. They only have red light from this, driving the spirit into pain. Dante cannot guess the course of time in Inferno. Virgilius' first appearance shows us two things. First is autobiography as the guide, and second is the limitation of Virgilius. In Inferno, there's a people punished according to their sin. Christianity believes that the cause of sin by the human free will. Dante's itinerary led everyone to salvation. God's providence and Dante's will be combined is very important things. People can choose the good or evil with their free will. Combined with Odysseus. In Odyssey, there's no Christian idea. In Christianity, there's a people who do good with God in this world are saved, and good evil without God is fell into hellfire. In Greek mythology, there is the afterlife is new but ambiguous place. The structure of Inferno. The interior consists of the space called vestibolo and 9 circle. This picture shows us the structure of Inferno. Purgatorio. Purgatorio is a place where we can see the stars again. There's a people not good enough go to heaven, but not bad enough go to hell, go to Purgatorio. The meaning of star is a target guide. The Purgatorio is a fluid word where the purification of spirits and for the hope of entering heaven one day. The comparison with Inferno. Unlike the Inferno, Purgatorio have opportunity to change and option to work on the right path. This word is similar with Purgatorio. The structure of Purgatorio. Unlike the mortal mountain, the Purgatorio, the starting point is difficult and easier to climb the mountain. There are 3 ways to purification. Paradiso. Paradiso is place where the spirit already have been the salvation. The entering the heaven, Virgilius' guide changed it to Beatrice's guide. It is because Virgilius did not get the salvation. The structure of Paradiso. Paradiso sat in the universe from Inferno. There are 10 skies under the rule of angel. This picture shows us the structure of Paradiso. In conclusion, Within the civilization of Greece and Rome, there is only despair over such death and no hope for salvation. This is our differences between Odysseus and Dante's visit the world of after death. Thank you for listening to my speech.
Thank you for your presentation. Now, there are two left. The fifth presenter is Zhang Tiantian, a doctor of Zhejiang University. The presentation will be shown in the video.
Hello, today everyone. My topic is opportunity and the challenge of the Belt and Road Initiative. I'm Tiantian Zhang. I'm Doctor of Engineering, School of the Oceanographic of Zhejiang University, which is a top university in China. So the preparation of the Belt and Road Initiative, the processes, and the strategic conception of the Belt and Road was put forward, everyone knows, by the President Xi Jinping to 2030. The ancient Silk Road is called the Land Silk Road and the Maritime Silk Road. It's put forward to the conception of the Silk Road is Huffman, and also the historical evolution of the ancient Silk Road. The historical background of the Belt and Road, there are three blocks. One is sea power zero, the land power zero, and the big cheese games. And also we have the competition, international trade like the TTP or TTIP, and also the shift focus the new adjustment of global engineering landscape, and also the challenge facing China in overcome the middle income trade. We can see this map. There are many, the military basement around China. It's called the sea, like the C-shaped circumference of China. So we have to overcome it. And the condition, opportunity of the Belt and Road, there are 5 tips. The civilization, spiritual. The country along the line is completed to China. And the designer of the countries, the neighbor countries, catches the China's economic progress. The political relationship between China and the countries along the line is good relationship. And the improvement of China's strength. And also the difficulty and the challenge of the Belt and Road, the 5 tips. The political relationship is complexity. And the unstable political situation, imperfect laws, and the high trade of the investor risk. In some countries, a lack of political trust. They have different interesting demands. And the unbalance of the few countries. And some countries have high expectation of China. So this is the general requirements. We can say in one word, we will build a joint comedy of interest and a comedy of dynasty and a comedy of responsibility with political trust, economic integration, and cultural tolerance. We can see this red line. The red line is the land Silk Road, and the blue line is maritime Silk Road. It's covered all over the world. This is the key points of this PPT. We called it's the 5 approach. One is policy coordinations. We probably handle the relationship with the major countries, strengthen the cooperation, improve the investment and the trade facility, and conduct the public diplomacy and in foreign exchange platform. The second is facility communication, connectivity. We can call it infrastructure construction. The third is implemented trade. That means investor facility. The first is financial integration. Let's expand the cooperation. The fifth is closer people-to-people tie. That means people-to-peoples between the two countries exchange idea and cooperation. That's the difficulty and main problems in counter capacity cooperation. The first of all is there are many conflicts with the local religion culture, the increased risk. And others with lack of supporting service. They are different in financial support. The third one is all the trade with the countries along the line is mainly caught in Southeast Asia. The overall scale with the countries East is small and the single product, the field of investment is narrow. The first one is, as I said before, the construction of the infrastructure is behind, so it's restriction the development. The fifth is the problems of the insufficient national cooperation capacity of the enterprise. We lack of this kind of enterprise. The general idea, just one word, is upgrading the international product capacity cooperation. The general idea. The first one, we can list the first method like this. This is also very important, the suggestion on capacity. One is strengthening docking with the countries. Second, improve the feasibility. Third, improve the level. First, build a network. Fifth, play the role of finance. Sixth, force the risk-content force of the participation. The seventh is harvest results. The eighth is promote government exchange. The consideration of the integration of the province, as in my city is the Zhejiang province, so we can cooperation with the engineering mineral resources and the development of agriculture and fishery resources. We have another city is called Ningbo and Zhoushan. They have the big port, so it can be participation in the marine Silk Road. And also Zhejiang province is strongest in e-commerce, so we can cooperation with the e-commerce and expand the market of the e-commerce industries. Okay, that's the conclusion. So we just emphasize what tips is we need to training the human resources and development the mechanism for the talent training and to meet the needs of the economic globalization and the China's strength economic rise. So that's for all. Thank you for everyone to listening.
Thank you. It's a final presentation. And sixth presenter is So Ye-hua, a student of SDC International School Academy. Please give her a warm applause.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lauren Yewasa. Today, I'm going to present about a study on the modern punishment through Michel Foucault's Discipline and Punish. These are my contents, and I will start off with the basis of utilitarian philosophy and end with the true reverse monitoring method. The purpose of the study was to explain about the purposes and examples of how it changed from physical torture to imprisonment. In addition, I investigated the devices that applied the panopticon in modern times and applied it to the Ukrainian war. I will introduce super panopticon and synopticon, which are the two reverse monitoring methods that respond to the current surveillance system. The discipline and punish and madness and civilization is based on a utilitarian philosophy. Utilitarianism focuses on efficiency and quantification. Utilitarianism is largely divided into Bendham's quantitative and J.S. Mill's qualitative utilitarianism. Michel Foucault, author of Discipline and Punish and Madness and Civilization, was born in Poitiers, and after college with an interest in psychiatry, wrote his doctoral thesis, Madness and Civilization. Then, in 1961, he published Madness and Civilization. Until his death, he wrote scholarly articles such as Discipline and Punish. Physical torture have been used even since the French Revolution and Reign of Terror. The primary example is Louis XVI, who was executed by the guillotine. Madness and Civilization show the changing process of how people portray madman as abnormal according to the change of the point of the view of how people portray madman as a normal human being. Discipline and punishment show the changing types of the punishment according to the changing types of the power. The main purpose of physical torture was to instill fear into the people who are watching the punishment. But the main purpose of imprisonment was to instill awareness that people are being controlled inside. Physical torture have been used at various centuries globally. From the 14th century and even into the Joseon dynasty, multiple kinds of physical torture has been used. Witch hunting, sending madmen away by ships, crucifixion, quartering act, and 5 major abuses of whipping, flogging, hard labor, banishment, and death penalty were among them. However, due to the increase in citizens' resistance and the changes of the power, the types of punishment changes. Foucault introduces 3 examples of the panopticon, which is schools, prisons, and hospitals. These 3 institutions have in common of controlling people by discipline and cutting off communication with the outside for a certain period of time to edify into obedient bodies. Prisoner's dilemma, also a kind of game theory, can be used as an example of imprisonment. By failing to cooperate with other prisoners, prisoners wouldn't be sentenced with the best option of spending 1 year in prison. The police uses the prisoner's dilemma to obtain the confession of both criminals. However, due to the advancement of technology now, the role of panopticon is not necessarily used by the watcher, but used by combining technology. The first surveillance method is GPS. It serves to determine an individual's location by using satellites. These devices arouse attention to people to the fact that their information is being collected at any time. The second instance, KaiPass, uses QR codes to collect users' activity path and their personal information. People will realize that their paths are being collected and will be more concerned about their behavior conduct. The third instance is AI. Global companies such as Google and Apple have been collecting user command information. People will be fearful that their information is being collected by others. Recently, the panopticon surveillance method is used in the Russia and Ukrainian war. Panopticon is a cyber warfare that is used by confusing the minds of the other parties and injecting the hope of the victory into the minds of the citizens. In addition, due to the Russia and Ukrainian war, it can be seen that the best surveillance system is not by state agency, but with the help of the private company, such as Microsoft Threat Intelligence Center and Facebook's parent company, Meta. In addition, due to the Russia and Ukrainian war, it can be seen that a system has been established in which thousands of artificial satellites monitor the world through the provision of internet program called Starlink. I think that death penalty should be abolished, and there are 2 reasons why. First of all, it does not deter crime. And secondly, mistakes can happen in the trial process. For these reasons, I think that death penalty should be abolished. I'll introduce to you the 2 reverse monitoring method. The first reverse monitoring method is a super panopticon. Super panopticon is a monitoring method in which people provide the information that they're being monitored. The primary example is Facebook and Twitter. The second reverse monitoring method is the synopticon. Synopticon is which the majority of people and people who have power monitor by 2 ways. While doing the research reading The Discipline and Punish written by Michel Foucault, I found out the reasons why the punishment changed from physical torture to imprisonment. I also found out the constrained form of panopticon and how panopticon is used in recent days. Panopticon is so deeply integrated in our life that it's even used in the war between Russia and Ukraine. Therefore, I have proposed super panopticon and synopticon, which are the 2 reverse monitoring methods that respond to the current surveillance system. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
Thank you so much to all presenters and the audience. All presentations are over. I wonder how the judges watched them. As a representative, we will listen to Dr. Lee Kyo-man's general review and encouragement.
잘 들어보셨나요? 머리가 아프죠? 예, 저는 우리 학생들이 이렇게 영어를 잘하는 거는 두 번째 문제고 이렇게 훌륭한 내용을 썼다는 거 이것이 하루아침에 된 것이 아니라 길게는 6개월 동안 공부한 거고 저도 같이 옆에서 도와주고 짧게는 3개월 동안 아이들이 공부한 거예요. 틈틈이. 물론 지금 고등학교 2학년 학생들은 AP 시험도 있고 중간고사도 있고 여러 가지 시험들이 있지만은 그거를 다 하면서 틈틈이 했어요. 그래서 저는 겉으로 드러나 있는 거가 한 10%면은 90%는 내용을 이제 보시면 굉장히 수준이 높습니다. 예, 저는 이 공부를 우리 학생들하고 같이 쭉 하고 또 지금도 들어보고 어제도 한 3번씩인가 이 리허설하는 걸 들어봤는데 머리가 아파요. 제가 했는데도 같이 했는데도 참 우리 학생들에게 찬사를 보내고 싶습니다. 다시 한번 박수를 좀 쳐주시면 좋겠습니다. 앞에 제가 모신 분은 우리 조성협 우리 기자이십니다. 예, 우리 경향신문 기자하시고 또 딜라이브 기자이신데 제가 젊은 이러한 학생들에 대한 취재를 많이 하시고 계세요. 그래서 제가 좀 평가를 좀 부탁을 드렸습니다.
이경만 선생님께서 그 대원여고에 계실 때부터 제가 수년째 경청하고 있고 또 취재를 해오고 있는 건데요. 놀라운 것은 매년 이렇게 학생들의 발전 속도가 보인다는 겁니다. 물론 학생들은 다르겠지만요. 그런 점에서 상당히 고무적인 것 같고 또 축하드리겠습니다. 오늘은 한중수교 30주년을 맞아서인지 동양 철학과 서양 사상이 결합된 발표가 있었습니다. 그 톨스토이와 노자, 마키아벨리와 맹자가 결합되고 비교 분석되는 발표가 있었는데 개인적으로 상당히 흥미로웠습니다. 뿐만 아니라 모든 발표에 외연이 확장됐고 또 고찰은 깊어졌고 이해도는 높아졌다고 생각합니다. 이 발표를 통해 학생들이 얼마만큼 성장할지 가늠할 수 없을 정도입니다. 이 모국어가 아닌 영어를 바탕으로 사고하고 습득하는 게 결코 쉽지 않다는 걸 잘 알고 있고 사실 한국어로도 이해하기 어려운 내용들을 이렇게 풀이해낸다는 게 대단한 것 같습니다. 또 적지 않은 연세에도 불구하고 이렇게 항상 노력하시고 또 가르치는 의지 또 배움을 나누려고 하는 의지를 가진 이경만 선생님께도 깊은 감사의 말씀드립니다. 네, 매년 이렇게 멋진 행사에 참석시켜 주셔서 감사드립니다. 존 F 케네디의 조류를 바꾸기 위해서의 이런 말이 나옵니다. 우리는 돛을 올렸고 희망으로 수평선은 희망으로 가득하다. 네, 여러분이 앞으로 나갈 수평선에도 희망이 가득하길 바랍니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you so much. I heard you well. So our hosting is all for today. Thank you.